Lovelies, my name is Jessica and welcome to Makeup Misfit. And just take that in for a minute or two. I cannot believe that I have completely finished off this highlighting palette. I'm happy. Can you tell that I'm happy? I am so happy. I am a little mind blown about it all, which I will discuss my thoughts about this in just a second. But I also want to kind of throw in some of my ideas and plans for Pan That Face palette for 2023. So I will talk about that towards the end of this video. But right now, let's discuss my thoughts, my feelings, my everything when it comes to this highlighting palette. So when I first rolled this in, I've had it for quite a few years. Now I did try to go back and figure out when I purchased it, but I really don't know. I thought it was off Beautylish. When I went to my previous orders, it was not there. I don't know if it was Sephora, but regardless, wherever I bought it from, I had it for a few years before I decided to roll it into here. And when I did that, it was pretty much brand new in the sense of never being used. Minus the age, everything else about it was brand new. So I really was not quite sure how this project was gonna go, especially because of the two cream shades at the top. So you had number 1 and 3 was Celestial, number 2 and 4 were Moonlight. So the cream shades were at the top and the powdered shades were at the bottom. So the way that I worked on this, just in case you haven't seen any of these updates for this project so far this year, or just a little refresher, but I worked on Celestial first and then I moved over to Moonlight about May or June-ish because Moonlight was just a little bit too dark for me in the wintertime, but Celestial fit me perfectly. So I started this in November of 22, started off working on Celestial. I was making some progress, and then come about May or June, I decided to switch over to Moonlight no matter where I was sitting at with my Celestial shades. Now, I can't remember if I had finished off the powdered Celestial shade by that point or not, but I believe I may have had Pan in the Celestial cream shade, which to me took, or it felt like at least, it took forever to hit Pan in that. I did start using it off with a beauty blender. I switched to a brush, which made the progress go a lot quicker and I was able to get more product and I could actually see it a lot more on my skin opposed to just using the sponge. It didn't really do anything for me. So like I said, my plan was to switch to using Moonlight come springtime, almost summertime, where that would fit me a lot better than Celestial. What I decided to do, what my original thought was, I was going to just stop using Celestial, use Moonlight, and then come fall time, so about like September, October-ish, I would switch back to Celestial and use that up, or use as much as I could just because it would be more of a winter shade for me. What I decided to do when I started to use Moonlight was I wanted to still incorporate the cream Celestial shade with the cream Moonlight shade, and that is how I finished it off. I think it took me a couple of months to do it that way, and I really enjoyed pairing the two together as well, and I managed to get really good use and really good progress on those two shades. Once I finished using the Celestial shade up, I just focused on Moonlight, and that is what I had been using right up until about a week or so ago. I had just the tiniest little bit left. It was getting a little bit difficult because the cream shade was a little bit crumbly, so I had to try and press it together. And I had to do that a couple of times. I'd have pieces like kind of in these other pans here, so I'd try to push them all together and then squish it down so that my brush would be able to pick it all up. So the Moonlight shade gave me a little bit of trouble, the powdered shade as well, when it came to the crumbliness of it, where I feel Celestial wasn't as difficult. It was a lot easier to use and I was able to use it up more of like as a whole than the powder or than the Moonlight shade was just in general. So I'm really, really happy. Like I said, obviously over the last couple of months, or at least I think I said, over the last couple of months, you would have been able to see the progress, and it was a little more than obvious that I was going to finish off this palette by the end of the year. But that being said, at the beginning of this project, I really did not think I was going to come close, at least because of the cream shades. The powdered shades, I was happy if I had finished them off, and I was going to be content with just leaving the cream shades where they were at the time of the end of this project. Now, I did start this in December of 22, like I said, so the fact that I finished it in October of I started it in December of 21. It's not quite December of 22 yet. And I finished it in October. 10 months to work on this whole palette just really shows you that, like, if you put your mind to it, you can really finish off a product, no matter what it is. Sometimes it may take longer, sometimes it may take less time, but the determination, like, I use this every single day. And if I didn't, it's only because I forgot to reach for it for whatever reason. So I was constantly reaching for this, and I never felt tired of it. I never felt bored of it. I never felt overwhelmed by it, which really helps as well, because you don't want to get to that point and want to give up on the product that you're working on unless it's just really not doing it for you anymore. But the fact that I was able to layer this with other highlighters that I've been working on and kind of work it in different ways really helped me work through this palette. So if I wasn't doing this panning journey, and I had this palette, it probably would still be completely full and I probably wouldn't have reached for the cream shades at all. But watching all these panning videos, it kind of gives you a little bit of inspiration in a way to kind of work products a little bit differently than you would just on a normal day-to-day basis. So I took the cream shades and I put them under my base, and then I put them a little bit on top of my base, and then I'd powder, and then I would layer my powdered highlighters with other highlighters and just get a different look or a different tone or a different finish and look on the skin. And I really enjoy doing that. I enjoy doing that with all of my products for the most part. So that is how I like to wear my stuff. But I really do think that if I wasn't involved in this panning community at all, or even doing it on the side, I probably would still have this, and it would probably go bad and just be a waste of money and time in the long run. But I'm very happy that I've completely finished it off. I'm very happy that I have a highlighting palette out of my collection, which is just crazy to even think about, and that it's this one at that, because this, I believe, is probably the oldest one that I have had in my collection. There's another one that's probably close to it, but those are also all powder, so I'm not too worried about it. It was more or less the cream shades in here that made me really want to work on this and knock it out of my collection, because I didn't want it going bad, and I've already had it for quite a while. So with that being said, my thoughts for my Pan That Face Palette 2023. I wanted to start this project in December of this year. I don't know if I will be doing that. There will be a project, I just don't know when it's going to start. So a couple of months back, I was debating, like, trying to figure out what palette I wanted to use for the next round. I've gone through a couple of them, but then I just had this spark, this idea of the one palette that I want to use, and I'm so excited to use it. I'm not going to tell you which one it is. You'll have to find out in my intro video, whenever that may be. But I know what palette I want to use. I'm excited for it. I'm like pumped for it. I cannot wait to start using it. But I want to finish hitting some goals on a couple of products that I have in projects right now, and I feel like because they're blushes, they may take a little bit longer. So if by chance I can finish off some goals before the end of this year, I will try and create this project in December. If not, it may be November, or not November, it may be January. I'm really hoping it doesn't go past that, and I'm sure I can hit my goals by that point. I don't have to hit all of them, but I do want to hit a couple of them, just to make myself feel a little bit better. I'm really trying to figure out what my panning adventure is going to be like for next year, and I'm really trying to figure out what projects I want to do, and this is definitely one of them. I'm just trying to figure out when that's going to happen, and I want it to happen after I hit these goals, which is just to hit pan. So it's not like I need to finish off a blush or anything like that. I just want to hit pan on a few blushes before I start my next Pan Your Face palette project. So wish me luck that I can hit these goals before December, because if I can, then I will start it then. I will just throw up an intro. I will show you guys the palette that I'm so excited to start working on. I will chat about that more in the intro. I'm not going to discuss too much about that palette here, but I'm very excited to start using it. I have not done that yet, so it's going to be quite the journey. And yeah, stay tuned to see when my next intro is going to be for Pan That Face palette. It may be December, it may be January. We'll see. I can't guarantee anything, but I'm just going to post it. It is going to be on the 17th of whatever month. I'm going to keep this project on the same date. So you'll just have to stay tuned to find out which month it's going to be posted in, but it will be posted on the 17th of whatever that month may be. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys for following me along on this journey. Again, I cannot believe that I've completely finished off this highlighting palette. It is just mind-blowing to me. Thank you to everybody who has been supportive about this project and just encouraging, and I really do appreciate you guys. I appreciate you watching, and I will see you guys all later. Bye.